Hi, I'm Leanne, and this is the Everyday Princess. Isn't it amazing how being the daughter of the King of Kings transforms our everyday lives? As I mentioned last week, there's a wedding coming in the family. And of course, when you think wedding, you think wedding dresses and brides. And how beautiful the bride will look, and how glowing and radiant and full of love and joy. And before that, in picking out the dress, oh my, I got to go with my future daughter-in-law to look for wedding dresses. And we Skyped in her mom, who was away at that moment. And it was just so amazing to watch her try on the dresses and just enjoy the beauty and see how happy she was. Now, there are two things that are typical about wedding dresses, and one is the groom doesn't see the bride in the dress before the wedding. In fact, Jonathan dropped us off at the shop and went and found parking, and we said, don't you come near the shop. You're not allowed to see the dress. And the other one is that the dress is made generally of white or ivory, and it's a beautiful fabric, and it can have beads on it or lace, and it's lovely. Now, there's another wedding coming, as I mentioned last time, where Jesus will come for his bride, the bride of Christ, the church. And did you know that we will have a wedding dress too? A very unusual one. It won't be made of linen. Let's take a look in Revelation chapter 19, verses 7 and 8. Let us rejoice and exult and give him the glory, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and his bride has made herself ready. It was granted her to clothe herself with fine linen, bright and pure. For the fine linen is the righteous deeds of the saints. The dress will not be made of linen, of real, what you can hold in your hand. It will be made of good deeds. But at the beginning of verse 8, it says, it was granted her to clothe herself. Now, what does that mean? So let's take a look at Romans chapter 8, verses 3 and 4. For God has done what the law, weakened by the flesh, could not do. That means following the law, keeping the rules, it doesn't work. It does not make you righteous. It does not make you good. So what happens then? How do you do good deeds? By sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh and for sin, he condemned sin in the flesh in order that the righteous requirement of the law might be fulfilled in us, who walk not according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. So that word walk means everyday life, what you do in everyday life. And it's possible then not to walk according to the flesh, which is sin, but according to the Spirit, which means good deeds in everyday life. So consider this. In our everyday life, when we do something by God's Spirit and grace, a good deed, it could be praying for somebody, it could be a hug, it could be showing patience in a difficult situation, it can be a kindness, the list is endless. That this is sowing, or even better said, this is choosing our wedding dress that we will wear when Jesus comes, because our beauty will come from good works. And this beauty, even better, is a reflection of our groom, because he died for us and made it possible for us to be righteous and therefore do righteous things. Isn't that wonderful and encouraging? I'm just overjoyed when I think now in everyday life, the smallest thing that by God's grace and God's Spirit that I do that is good is choosing my wedding dress. That reflects his glory now, and when he comes to get me, when he comes to get the church, that his bride, that will reflect how beautiful and how wonderful he is, and how amazing it is that he loves us. So I encourage you, just take a moment to consider. In everyday life, just pause and go, I just chose my wedding dress. And choose it again and again by God's grace and Spirit. That's all for today. Next week, you will hear the story of this bride and how she chooses her wedding dress each day. I think it will encourage you and give you cause for rejoicing and warm your heart and make you thankful that we, the church, are in this together. See you next week. Bye.